Hello everyone, Wallaceman105 back and re-equipped here on Mortality Craft. So, last episode, lost everything, and in the meantime I've been doing a lot to get all of my gear back, and I am ready to once again tackle my problems. As I said last episode, I think the best course of action for... Get this nether portal a sec. There we go. I think that the best course of action is going to be for me to improve my access to my new base area before actually going back there and starting some of those projects. There we go. So, that is going to involve building something of an early rail network to and from. Oh boy. Now, that means I have... Well, I've actually got quite a fair few sticks here as it stands. But that means that the first thing we're going to knock out today is building that network. I call it a network, but in this case it's just one line. So we're going to build that rail line as a very simple rail with just a handful of booster rails, and then we'll see about making it more complex later. Now I think I've let this bamboo farm run long enough to get all of the rails I'm going to need, but yeah, we will start stepping this up and making more rails. I'm also going to need, at some point while I'm going through the nether, to do a little bit of enderman hunting so that I can get myself enough Eyes of Ender to make more ender chests, because nothing will go further to prevent what happened last time than a supply of ender chests. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, while it's not much, and it's certainly not fast, we now have a rudimentary rail connection between spawn-ish and my new base area. So, we're going to go ahead and ride over there and reassess what we're doing. So, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, sheep farms up here will give us the supplies we need to expand the village, and I think I should also add up here a cow farm. so that way we can have some food and leather to make books to trade to librarians. Now, I'm also going to want to set up a wood farm as well with bamboo. Although, now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I brought any. Not to worry. We have a railroad. Okay, trips back and forth took longer than expected, but we now have a very functional... Uh-oh. Missed a step. But this is a very good design that I found online that I will post as soon as I am able. So it's very reliable. Appears to be lossless, best I can tell. And yeah, the hopper minecart sits above this mud block, gives it a good transfer rate into this hopper, which goes into this crafter. Just let fly. Goes into this hopper with only one active slot in this top crafter. Then as soon as it gets 9, it will immediately fire wood into this chest. Alright. So this should be infinite. Using my new little freight connection, I have set us up with bone meal from good old Nori Pole's skeleton farm he set up. So, this is pretty good. Next up is a cow farm. A glass blew up my portal and I'm heading back to spawn. I didn't have any flint and steel, I really was wrong. Gas blew up my portal and I'm heading back to spawn. I didn't have any flint and steel and that was pretty wrong. Okay, cow farm went probably the smoothest of everything so far. I've got 2 trapped in here with this post keeping them intact. These are all, not intact, in place. These are all temporary blocks. And now all I have to do is breed them. Until we get a decent number. And then, once I have enough, I will break this torch, which will send the baby cows into this chamber, which this lava will then dispose of once they're old enough. And I can feed the babies more wheat down here to get them to grow faster. So we're in good shape. And in that time frame, we've hit over a stack on both of our sheep. So, yeah, this is coming along nicely. Next up, I will need to make a paper farm. And it's also worth noting, because this is very ugly with all these out in the open, this is a very temporary setup. And in fact, if I could go ahead and get into how I'm going to design this, I've been looking more into how cities and towns and stuff should be built in a Minecraft setting. And I've come to the conclusion that the most important thing I always fail at when I do these is elevation changes. So our city is going to start out along the coastline and build its way up into the hills. That means that this area up here needs to have some kind of big, cool structure that kind of acts as a anchor or landmark for the rest of the town to be built around. And then we can spread out some farming fields down on the backside. So I need to think of what I want to have be the centerpiece of the town. And when I do, this whole mountain is probably going to come down to about here. Yeah. We'll probably bring it down to about here. Yeah, that'll do. And then that'll be the centerpiece. But these farms will keep me going until I complete the next 2 steps, which is to set up the road layout for the little market district I'm going to build there where the village is currently, and an industrial district with a proper factory, probably here near the coast, maybe kind of with the nether portal centered between them. Yeah, that sounds appropriate. So those are the long-term plans, but I'm going to go ahead and get this sugarcane farm started. So I'm going around and checking my light levels because I keep hearing mobs. And I come down around here Oh, I lost it. Come down roundabout here, and I see just Mob Central down there, so I need to go clean this up real quick. Where is that zombie from? Found you. Alright, let's go. I'd like to file a noise complaint, sir. You are a terrible neighbor. And you are dead. Okay, now that my little adventure in caving is complete, should be sneaking me. Where did you spawn? Oh. Never enough light, is there? That should do for now. But now that my little adventure in caving is complete, I can get back to the reason I turned OBS on. The sugarcane farm is operational, and we've already got over 1.5 stacks. And at the same time, while I've been building that, I've kept going on developing the cow farm to the point where now we have reached maximum capacity. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is very odd. Does that need to be a slab? I thought it needed to be a block. Okay, it looked like that did need to be a slab there for this to work. So I should be able to bring the number of cows back up a little bit more now that some of the entities are free. Oh no. Alright, I think we're actually a little bit low. Now that these farms are built and handled, I can go ahead and focus my efforts on some of the villager resources I need. And before we get too far along that, I will say I do desperately need to improve my connectivity up to this area, and I need to get that faster. So our first priority will be getting more redstone so that we can buff up the number of booster blocks on the rail in the nether. So let's go ahead and trade with some clerics. So coming back to the village, it actually kind of looked like a lot of my villagers were gone. So in addition to trading up with the clerics, I also had to go ahead and get a new farmer, who I'm going to try to re-roll here. Uh-oh. Yeah, you're going to trade wheat. Awesome. Let me just take some of your subsistence farming, so that way I can pass off the value of your labor as my own. Am I the bad guy? Alright, this guy has gotten a trade in, so he should be able to stay locked in as a farmer. And I have some more plans for the village. But for now, I'm going to take this half stack of redstone blocks, call it a win, and we're going to do more next time, because that is all the time I have today. So, appreciate you for coming around, and hope to see you in the next one. But in the meantime, I'm Wallace. I hope you learned something, and remember to take it easy.